boy, do I have a crazy video for you guys today. I have not posted in a fucking long time, and I apologize for that. And in this video, I'm going to reveal the entire process, start to finish, of how we are producing AI statics, start to finish, at our agency for some of the biggest brands in direct consumer dropshipping. This is one of our biggest clients. They're doing 2.3 million a month right now over the last 30 days. And the reason I have the results on screen is because the process that I'm about to show you is what we have used internally at our agency to produce all of the static ads for this brand. And this video might upset some people on YouTube that like to gatekeep a lot of this information for like a paid course or something like that. But I literally want to just give it all away for free today because this is the exact process as well that helped me save like $2,000 a month from having to pay graphic designers at our agency to produce a lot of these ads that I'm about to show you. And before I actually get into the process specifically, I want to show you some of the output that we've been able to get from using this exact system. And these are literally ads that we one-shotted with AI. There's no edits, there's no, throwing this into Canva or Photoshop and editing certain stuff. These are literally one-shotted ads that we produced entirely with AI. And to produce just these 3 ads, it probably took me maybe 10 minutes at most. So I hope you can already understand the value that I'm about to share in this video. But first, I kind of want to break down the use case for what these styles of ads are really good for, because naturally different formats of ads are catered to different groups of people, different awareness levels. And where I see these ads performing the best is usually when you already have an ad library or an ad account filled with some other ads that might sort of be top of funnel. Maybe you're running a lot of VSLs, maybe you're running some UGCs, but you've found yourself not really creating ads that are actually converting. This is when you start to mass produce these kinds of ads, and these do an amazing job of actually converting customers right then and there. Because naturally these styles of ads, I will be honest here, these aren't going to be the best kinds of ads if you're just, trying to do top of funnel, you're trying to attract customers right off the bat. Because again, naturally these ads are very much already where someone is at the product aware stage. Whenever you're showing the actual product in an ad itself, that is going to be a product aware ad. Whereas if you wanted to create an unaware ad, for example, you would probably create something that doesn't actually have your product in it. But again, if you already have a process or you're just launching a bunch of ads already, but nothing is really converting very well in your ad account, if you throw these into your CBO and you mass produce these and you do them properly following the exact system that I'm about to show you, then I can almost guarantee you that your entire ad account will see a huge uptick in terms of just overall better results, lower cost per acquisition, lower cost per clicks, because also these kinds of ads do a great job of getting people to actually click through. But anyways, enough yapping. I want to get straight into the actual process itself. All right, so step number 1 to actually producing these high converting statics is number 1, you need to do your foundational research. And this is no different to any other process. Whenever you're going to be producing ads, whether it be VSLs, UGCs, statics, you need to do your foundational research. I have a video specifically going through my foundational research process using Google Gemini, where essentially I will be then able to extract tons of insights from this niche, this product specifically. So I did this as an example for the kids saffron gummies. No, I don't work for these guys. This is not a client of ours. This is not one of my brands. I just use this as an example brand in a lot of these videos. And essentially I went through and I did our foundational research where, we have a few prompts, we go through this process, and eventually we get met with a huge research document that has tons of insights on our avatar, the problems that they face, and all sorts of desires that they might want, failed solutions, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's able to pull research from Reddit, Quora threads, Wikipedia, all sorts of like online resources. So essentially this is step number 1, is to pull this foundational research. And the reason for this is because you're going to then export this as a PDF. You could export it to docs and then download it as a PDF. And you're going to feed this back into ChatGPT so that it can create great prompts that actually have ad copy that have a high likelihood chance of performing. Because if you are not inputting the right things and ChatGPT doesn't know what your customer wants, the problems they face, a lot of the time it's going to guess and it might not get it right, especially when you're producing these prompts that I'm going to showcase in just a second here. So again, export this to docs and download it. This is step number 1. Step number 2 is complete the brand DNA breakdown using Pomeli. And this is going to be a pretty much automated process that you don't really have to do too much. Essentially, just Google Pomeli by Google. You're going to go into Pomeli by Google Labs. And essentially, you're going to just simply put your landing page. And based on your landing page, it will then extract obviously your logo, the fonts that you use, your color scheme, and all sorts of other valuable information. And this is again stuff that you want to be feeding back into ChatGPT, because this will now become your brand DNA. And one of the things that you might have noticed over here is all of these ads appear to be on brand. They all have, the right color schemes. They're using like the pinks and the blues, and all the colors that come directly from this brand DNA is what we were able to use in these final ads here. And this is a very important step to the process, because if you don't do this, essentially you'd be producing these ads and maybe this background would be like orange, this button might be like green, and everything's just going to look really sloppy and it's not going to look on brand. Not that that is overly important in terms of creating stuff that actually converts. I think in terms of producing stuff that converts, your direct response principles and having that in line in terms of like your headline, your subheading, stuff like that, I think that is a lot more important. But again, you want to make it look like you're actually posting ads from like a trustworthy brand. If the colors are all over the place, it's just going to look sloppy again, and it's just not going to convert. There is certainly a market in which ads that don't look on brand do convert well. But again, for this process where we're producing ads that are high converting, offer focused ads, again, the use case here is people that already probably have seen your other existing ads and you want them to actually just convert right now. So you don't necessarily need to create an ad where you're disguising it as like authentic native content. Again, there is a place for that kind of ad, and we do that all the time. But in this process where we're producing ads that are high converting ads that are very much offer focused, you want these to be a little bit more on brand and just congruent with your overall feel, positioning, and everything of your brand. So once you have extracted your brand DNA, you're just going to want to screenshot some of this. You're just going to screenshot like that. You're going to scroll down, screenshot this. There is a feature here where you could like download it, but it doesn't actually download the right stuff in my opinion. What's really important here is that you get the fonts and the color scheme here. Again, I think the color scheme is probably the most important. I think the fonts, you could use various fonts in your ad creatives, but in terms of color schemes, you want that to be pretty congruent every single time you're producing an ad. Step 3 is we finally start to throw this into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT is going to start producing prompts for us. I have personally produced a custom GPT that pretty much is trained on direct response principles. It's trained on how to produce detailed Nano Banana prompts and also how to format those prompts correctly so that it's actually organized and Nano Banana isn't overwhelmed with like confusing instructions telling it all these little details. This GPT pretty much allows you to just throw a reference ad in and it will spit you out a prompt that is actually good and create something that is very similar to that reference ad, but is again tailored to your brand, the avatars that you're targeting, their problems, their desires, stuff like that. And that is why the foundational doc and the research that you got from Google Gemini is very important, because that is what is going to train this thread up. So boom, we are going to throw our foundational research as well as the screenshots that we took from Pomeli so that it knows our color scheme and all that sort of stuff. And now we are ready to essentially find a reference ad that we want to replicate. So I've made this super simple for you guys. I have an entire 4-play board with like, I don't even know, there's probably over 150, 200 ads in here, all statics, all high performing. They've all been live for like a very long time. And you're able to get this exact swipe file if you just join the free Discord. You don't have to put an email in or anything. You'll be able to get this swipe file, and you'll also get all my swipe files for like VSLs, UGCs, all the different formats of ads that we produce. You'll be able to get the swipe files in the Discord. So once you are in the swipe file, you essentially just want to try and find an ad here that we want to replicate. So we could just scroll and scroll. So let's go here and take this ad. And then once we have it downloaded, we just drag and drop it into the GPT. By the way, this GPT is actually just exclusive for the people in our program. It took a lot of time and resources to actually create this, so we keep that exclusively for the people in the program. But at the same time, it is very simple to also just get these prompts written by ChatGPT once you prime up a thread with all of this foundational research, the reference doc, and everything. With that said, if you do want access to all of my systems, all my AI workflows, my custom GPTs, everything that we use internally for our agency to produce ads, doing a combined like 10.5 mil a month right now across all of our client accounts and personal accounts, then you'll be able to click the first link in the description to apply to work with me directly. It is a one-on-one mentorship scholarship. So I'm actually pretty selective with who we end up taking on. But if you are the right fit, then go through the application process. You'll be able to chat with me directly and we'll see if it makes sense. But anyways, I don't want this to turn into like some sales pitch. You absolutely do not have to join that either way. I'm going to drop tons of free value in all of these videos. And hopefully this video is valuable so far. So if it is, leave a like and let me know in the comments like what other videos you'd want me to produce. I feel like I just have so much knowledge from working with all these different clients at the agency that I don't really know what to produce. I don't know what kind of content resonates with you guys. So let me know in the comments. But yeah, getting back into it. So essentially, once we have all of these things in here, we have our foundational research, we have our color schemes and brand DNA, and we have the reference ad. Then we essentially just say what we want to do. So most of the time I'll just say, please use the reference ad to produce an ad for my Joy Spring Saffron gummies. Actually, one thing that I like doing as well is putting a picture of the gummies themselves, because sometimes the prompt will hallucinate, and maybe for us specifically, we use a bag of gummies, whereas if you don't put this screenshot of it directly into ChatGPT, it might write you a prompt that says use the bottle of gummies or something like that. So you just don't want it to like hallucinate. So there we go. I just put the bag of gummies. And one thing that you want to pay attention to is, you want to give it a little bit more info on what you're actually looking for. So obviously this ad is our reference ad, and this is again very much an offer focused ad. And if we don't give ChatGPT any info on the current sales we're running or what we want to promote here, it's probably just going to steal the 40% off, and maybe that's not the offer that you want to promote. You'll also recognize that it's like, this is very much a Black Friday ad, which now that I look at it, I don't know why. Oh no, it says, okay, one day. I don't know why it says it's still running, but anyways, obviously at the time of recording this, it's January 12th. It would make no sense for us to replicate a Black Friday ad. So we want to briefly describe what we want to promote this time around. So for example, maybe we're going to want to promote this as sort of like a New Year sale, maybe New Year, new beginnings. If you don't already know, this product is pretty much a product that it's sort of a natural gummy that parents give to their children to help reduce meltdowns and just make their kids a little bit calmer and easier to deal with in general. But anyways, we're going to tell it what we want to promote for. So we're going to say promoting our New Year sale where our product is up to 50% off for a limited time. We want to target moms that need a fresh start this new year with their kids. Boom, we put that in. I don't know if these images didn't load. I guess we'll see. Okay, it looks like, so what you'll see is it's already taking some of the brand guidelines, so that's good. And you'll see what I've trained this custom GPT to actually do is it's able to find certain elements of that reference ad and pretty much apply it for our brand specifically. So you'll see the pouch of gummies is above around pedestal, very similar to what you'll see in this reference ad over here. It gives info on the text placement. It'll also be able to pull certain visual elements from that ad specifically. So you'll see that it's describing certain ad copy that it wants to put in the top ribbon, the main headline. So the top ribbon is obviously up here, and then the headline is up to 50% off. And then it's copying even like the pill subheading here. Something that's also very important is to remind the model to not actually adjust the product itself, because we don't want the product to differ from what it looks like on our landing page to what it looks like in our ads. And then finally, it'll also show sort of like a branding guide. And again, this is all pulled directly from what we did with Pomeli. It even pulls the exact fonts that we want to use, the overall vibe, and so on. And pretty much what the output format is it's going to have this visual direction section, the ad copy, the reminder, the branding guide. And what this GPT is going to do is it's going to spit out 3 different prompts so that you have the choice. You could kind of briefly read through these and see which you think is the best, or you could essentially just produce all of them and see which one you like the most. So that's essentially what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy and paste all of these prompts. And once I have it copied, I'm just going to go over into Higgsfield and I'm going to paste it. And if you don't already know, Higgsfield is sort of like an AI aggregate platform where you could essentially use different models to create images, create videos. It sort of gives you access to all these different models, whether it be Sora or VO3 or Kling 2.6. Most of the time when I'm creating images, actually all the time, time when I'm creating images now. I'm using Nano Banana Pro. That is the model that I would recommend you choose as well. The nice thing about Higgsfield is it actually has an unlimited option for when you're producing Nano Banana ads. So this process is essentially free. Obviously you have to pay for Higgsfield itself, but you are then able to create as many of these ads as possible. There is literally no limit. If you want to do this for 12 hours a day and produce 200 of these statics and launch super hard, then you absolutely can. But yeah, essentially what you'll want to do is then we've already copied our prompt in here, and then we're just going to want to attach a couple images. So the main ones really being sort of the reference ad and also the product ad, or the product image as well. So there we go. We have copied the product image and the reference ad, and we have obviously copied and pasted the prompt taken directly from ChatGPT. So essentially make sure that you have the unlimited ticker on. You could generate in 2K with the unlimited as well, but to be honest, it takes a long time. 1K is usually just better because it's fast. So then you could just like spam click this. I'm just going to do it twice, and then I'm going to go back over here. And since this outputs multiple different prompts, a lot of the time I like copying all of them so that we could produce a couple variations of this style of ad. Sometimes the variations might be the ad copy itself. It might be the visual direction that ChatGPT does. But essentially, you're just going to sort of copy and paste and click the unlimited button to output another image from Higgsfield. So this makes the process super, super easy. With Nano Banana Pro on Higgsfield right now, you could do up to 4 concurrent image generations. So that means once these are all loaded and they are produced, then we could do another 4 for a different prompt, a different image, something like that. So I'm gonna let this generate and we will be back once it is complete. All right, so we are back. It's been probably 4 or 5 minutes and it just completed all the generations. And what you'll see here is it just produces crazy ads. Like honestly, some of these are just so good. I really like this first one and this last one here. I think this last one is super, super good. And this is one of the reasons as well why I like using the different prompts, is because it's usually going to give you a slightly different output. So obviously these first 2 are pretty good. This second one was the second prompt that we used. I don't actually like it as much. And this last one here I think is really, really clean. And I think this just did a great job of literally finding a reference ad, replicating it start to finish with relevant ad copy. And you could see that by the way it's targeting these people in the ads. It's talking about fresh start for moms and kids. It's obviously talking about calmer moods, better focus. Again, some of the benefits that this product brings. Trusted by parents, made for kids. And you could literally replicate this exact process if I wanted to do a Valentine's sale. I would literally just go back into the GPT. I would say now adjust these prompts to make it relevant for a Valentine's sale. It'll again spit you out like 3 new prompts. You copy and paste those directly into Higgsfield. And it's literally that easy. And I hope that you can recognize the value that this adds, especially if you are just starting out and you don't have a huge budget for video editors and creative strategists, and you want to just be able to try and test and validate a product relatively quickly, then this is a great process to be able to do so. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend necessarily this style of ad because as you can see, this is very much an offer focused ad, up to 50% off. You're kind of screaming it in the customer's face here. This is not going to convert very well if this is like one of the only ads in your ad account, because it doesn't really do a great job of like building up emotional desire. But again, if you already have VSLs live, you have some UGC live, then throwing a couple of these kinds of offer focused ads into your account literally changes everything. You test this for yourself, you will see an uptick in your entire ad account. Trust me, these ads will actually make your VSLs and your top of funnel ads perform even better, because a lot of the time throughout the customer journey, they might land on the VSL first, they might then land on this, they might go back to the VSL, and maybe they finally convert on this, but your VSL is also going to take some attribution for that sale. So again, this process is just unreal. Again, it's personally allowed me to save like $2,000 a month because I used to have to pay 2 different video editors for our agency to produce all of these for some of the biggest clients that we're working with. But now at this point, we're able to produce these in literally 5 minutes, as you saw. And again, when you have this swipe file, which again, you could get in the free Discord, you're able to go in here and just save any of these ads, throw it into your GPT and get it to replicate the exact style of ad start to finish. Again, it's super, super easy. But yeah, I won't keep you guys here any longer. Again, hopefully you guys found this valuable. If you did, leave a like. And again, let me know what other kinds of videos you want to see down below. This is literally just like 5% of the entire value that I could provide on here. If you do want a little bit more help and you want to work with me one-on-one to apply systems like this, but also our AI avatars, AI B-roll, and our entire AI video system to your brand to be be able to scale it up. Then again, hit that first link in the description, go through the application, and then book a call. It will be directly with me, not some sales closer or anything. And we'll just see if it makes sense. But yeah, that's all I've got for this video. So I'll see you in the next one.